Welcome to this eLearnSecurity video training lesson on Dirbuster. Dirbuster is a Java application designed to brute force directories and file names on web applications. Over the pure brute force, it also offers custom lists to use in order to find hidden files and directories. In this video, we are using a Kali Linux machine, which already has Dirbuster installed by default. We can launch it by clicking on Applications, Kali Linux, Web Applications, Web Crawlers, and then select Dirbuster. This will open the Dirbuster GUI on our computer. As we can see in the main window of Dirbuster, the first thing we can set is the target URL. In other words, the web application on which we want to run our tests. For our tests, we will use a web application hosted at the following address. Note that since the target is listening on the default port, which is port 80, we do not need to specify it. Right after the target, we can set the HTTP method. We can choose to use only GET requests or instruct Dirbuster to automatically switch between head and GET methods. Since Dirbuster is a multi-thread Java application, we can select here the number of threads to use. We are running the tests locally, so we can increase this value by selecting the box Go Faster. After this, we can select the type of scan we want to run. As previously stated, we can configure Dirbuster to run a pure brute force, or a list-based brute force. The difference between the two is that with a list-based brute force, Dirbuster will try different names already stored into its files, while with a pure brute force, it will try every possible combination, depending on the parameters we set. Here, for example, if we select pure brute force, we can configure the char set to use within the brute force by selecting it from the drop-down menu. We can also select the minimum and maximum length of word to use. If we use a list-based brute force, Dirbuster asks us to browse a file containing the words to use. Let's click on Browser and then navigate our local computer until we find the word lists folder contained in Dirbuster. For now, let's select the file directory, list 2.3 small, and click Select List. At the bottom of the GUI, we can see the standard option for our tests. Here, we can set the directory to start with. The slash here means to start from the root of the target address. We can also set a list of file extensions to search. For our tests, we're going to switch it to back because we're going to look for backup files and old. So this will be anything with the extension of .bak or .old. We will leave brute force directories checked, and we will also leave the default options for be recursive, which means that it will scan the directories over and over. Note that here we can also set a specific URL to fuzz instead of the root folder. Before starting the tool, let's take a look at the advanced options available by choosing Options and then Advanced Options from the menu. As we can see, we have HTML parsing options, authentication options, HTTP options, scan options, and Dirbuster options. Here, in the scan options, we can limit the number of requests per second. This will cut down the number of network traffic that goes out. Once again, since we are running it locally, we can leave the option unchecked. Now we can finally launch the scan by clicking on Start. We will see that the Dirbuster results window comes up. In the first tab, we have an overview of the process. We can see the status of the process for each extension we have set. At the top of the window, we can see we are scanning the target dirbuster.site on port 80. Here in the results, we can see a list of files and directories found. Since we are interested in just files, let's sort the list by type and check only the files. Here we can see a file named user.back with a response of 200, which means that the resource exists and is accessible. If we take a look at the 3 view, we can see the file under the 3 view of the website itself. So let's take a look at the user.back file. We will inspect it by right-clicking on it and selecting View Response. As we can see here, there's the content of the file, and we can see that within the user.back file, we have a list of users. Another very interesting file Dirbuster found is the conf.old file contained in the include folder. Let's take a look at it. As we can see, here we have found some information about the database connection of the application. So, this is how you can use Dirbuster to find useful information from web servers. Note that once Dirbuster finishes the scan, or if we stop it, we can click on Report and save the results into different formats. So let's choose the path where we will save it and click on Generate. Here, we can see the list of files and folders found by Dirbuster. And this concludes our video training lesson. Thanks very much for joining us.